The World War II Memorial was opened to the public in 2004 under George W. Bush. It consists of 56 pillars, each representing a different U.S. state or territory, located in an oval around a central plaza and fountain pool. It is constructed almost entirely of granite and is strategically located on the National Mall between the Washington Monument and Lincoln Memorial. The plaque located at the entrance establishes the purpose of the monument and proclaims, "There, in the presence of Washington and Lincoln, one the 18th century father and the other the 19th century preserver of our nation, we honor those 20th century Americans who took up the struggle during the Second World War and made the sacrifices to perpetuate the gift our forefathers entrusted to us, a nation conceived in liberty and justice."
As the visitor enters the monument, they are flanked by two parallel sets of bas-relief bronze panels, which acknowledge the efforts of the home front in the war. In addition to literally showing the transition, it symbolically transitions the visitor from the city, or the home front, into the monument, or the war. This puts the viewer into the headspace of commemoration and thinking about the past. The monument is a wholly encapsulating experience, as the viewer is fully integrated into the large monument. The sound of the water and its low physical location separate it from the city, forcing the viewer to focus on the monument and its message. The main argument of the monument is that World War II was an event which affected every region and citizen of the United States, and that we must never forget the war or those who served in it.
By having a pillar for each state and territory, the idea that the entire nation was involved with the war is developed. Additionally, each pillar has a wreath on both the front and the back, symbolizing agriculture and industry. Together, they acknowledge the efforts of each state's labor in the war and remind the visitor of the effort on the home front. Another part of the monument is the two pavilions on each side marked Atlantic and Pacific, respectively. The split recognizes the division of the war into both the European and Pacific theaters. In each pavilion lies a baldacchino, a figure of four eagles holding a laurel wreath. The eagle represents the U.S., and the wreath is a symbol of victory going back to ancient Greece, reminding the visitor of the U.S. victory in the war. The idea of victory is further developed by the victory medallion, engraved on the floor below, with names of different battles and regions in which the United States war effort prevailed. The Atlantic and Pacific sides are almost mirrored images and serve to demonstrate the global scale of the war and the U.S.'s important role in it.
The monument also uses written texts, particularly engraved quotes, to appreciate the valor of American soldiers and enforce the idea that they must be honored. The quotes are boldly engraved into the wall, fitting with the powerful, somber atmosphere of the memorial. One quote from Chester W. Nimitz reads, "They fought together as brothers in arms, they died together, and now they sleep side by side. To them we have a solemn obligation." The familial reference to fighting like brothers in arms invokes a sense of pathos in the viewer, as they think about how they would feel fighting and dying next to their brothers. By quoting a high-ranking military officer, the monument also appeals to ethos. Furthermore, the quote draws a logistical conclusion that World War II soldiers fought for us, so we are obligated to honor them, invoking logos as well. The writing, and this quote particularly, remind the visitor why they are there, to remember the soldiers and the war.
The Freedom Wall, located at the back of the monument, is probably the most powerful image in the whole construction. 4,048 stars each represent 100 fallen soldiers. The stars force the viewers to think about the lives of each individual soldier and remember the efforts of Americans in the war. Many come to the monument to honor their family members who served, like visitor John Warlikowski from Riverside, California.
Awesome. And what brought you to the World War II monument today?
Of course, my father served, and my wife's father served in World War II, and very moving. You think of over 400,000 Americans that gave their lives so that you can stand here today and interview me.
There is a unique, little-known feature about this monument. This image, titled "Kilroy Was Here," is engraved in two places around the monument intended for informed visitors to find. This cartoon was included because American soldiers, during the war, would carve this cartoon with the words, "At places they camped or hunkered down or fought." The cartoon was meant both as an inside joke among the soldiers, as well as reassurance that there had been Americans who had been there before the others, leading the way for new companies of soldiers to pass through. It also became a challenge for soldiers to find an area not previously marked by a cartoon and to mark it themselves. To honor this tradition, the cartoon was hidden in 2 places around the monument. While much of the monument is symbolic, it is not metaphoric. Throughout the monument, there are examples of symbolism such as the baldacchinos and the wreaths. However, the monument is not meant to be a metaphor for the war, instead merely honoring the war effort.
While it is a generally beloved monument, the World War II memorial has not avoided controversy altogether. Most importantly, critics argue that the monument, placed directly between the Washington Monument and Lincoln Memorial, ruins the famous walk from the obelisk to the famous statue that remains a mainstay for protests and gatherings on the mall.
What do you think the most impressive part of the monument is to you?
There's no one part. It's just all impressive to me.
If anything, the memorial becomes more effective in its purpose as time wears on. Its role of commemorating a past event becomes more and more relevant as the event fades into history. The World War II monument is a beautiful tribute to those who served and continues to draw visitors from all around the world.